Di here, just making a tag today for the Andrea Kidman challenge, make a tag challenge for her 2000 subbies challenge on YouTube. Well done, Andrea. 2000 is an amazing amount. I hope you get lots of tags made. Mine's a little late. It certainly is not going to get to you in Germany before the end of the competition, but I'll make this little video so you can see that I'm thinking of you. I've got a piece of brusho coloured paper, a bit of watercolour paper that has been in my box, and I thought it would make a good base. And I'm just added a stencil there onto my bamboo little mat or wooden palette, or whatever it is, to keep the stencil rigid. I'm not good with stenciling if I haven't taped them down. I find they move and I hate the result, so I always tape it down. I'm using a bit of Salty Ocean there just to add a little bit more interest and definition to that piece of brusho paper. And I've got some, what's this? This is mowed lawn, just to put some of that bright green as well as the blue into the background. I decided I wanted to make an Australian-y themed tag for Andrea. So I'm using all these colours and gum leaves to try and achieve that outcome. Here I'm just moving the stencil to move it down the paper a little bit so I can continue that pattern. So all you do is line up the pattern that you've already placed with the stencil, making sure you get it in exactly the right spot so you can continue the pattern down the piece of paper. And it means I can make the tag as long as that paper is. I don't have to cut it short because it's only a very small stencil. Just continuing that colour application. When Andrea announced her competition, I put some gum leaves in my flower press, and so they've been drying ever since, but I simply haven't had a chance to get to this until now. What with Christopher's shop and my uni assignments. It's been a bit hectic. Just taking that off so you can see the effect of that additional colour, which is quite nice. And leave that to dry a tiny bit while I get out I think this is called Punchinella. It's my dear friend Maggie in New Zealand sent me this. I haven't been able to find it here anywhere, so I'm very grateful to Maggie, and I'm being very careful not to damage this in any way. I treat it with great care. It's been very useful. Here I'm just applying some ink gold through the circles in just randomly across looks a little bit like wattle flowers, but again, green and gold is Australian colours. Removing that, and there's the gold. There enough. Taken it off, left it to dry. Here's my flower press. We bought this, my daughter and I, years and years ago when she was very young. We used to press flowers. It's actually made to go in the microwave originally, but I never use that because it does make them go very brown. I prefer things to dry naturally. And here are all the leaves I put. I'm just pulling out a few to pick a few nice ones to go on it. There's some Physifolia leaves. They're a bit thicker, a bit chunkier, but I decide not to use those in the finish, just the thin ones. And there's the gum nuts. I'm not using the Physifolia gum nuts. I'm using these. These were a little drier than the Physifolia ones. I found these in the dog park some time ago and used them to collect the seed. They're actually a Western Australian native eucalypt. But they're nice and dry and they're sort of an unusual shape. Threaded the string down through, I got my husband to drill a little hole down through the centre of the gum nut so the string could go through it. And here I'm just using a manila tag as a template to draw around, being lazy, saves measuring anything. And I'll just cut that out with some scissors and make it the full length at the moment of the paper. I'll trim it up after. I either missed videoing and I also think I've lost a section of video. I've deleted stuff with gay abandon and then realised I really wanted it. Just giving that gold a little bit of a polish up, it does shine nicely. I put this tag onto, there I've done it, it's on a piece of cereal box to give it a bit of robustness, and I've also used some Memento Tuxedo Black and stamped a little bit of text across in several places. Second and third generation stamping there just to put a bit more texture into the background. Makes it a bit fussy, but quite like the effect. Missed that bit too. Look, I put the cereal box side of the tag, the back of the tag, onto a piece of the lovely Kaisercraft Wanderlust paper that's got Australian native plants on it. So I've used that, glued it onto the back, and I'm just letting that dry. And now it's dry, I'm going to trim that out, and that'll be a 3-layer tag. I'm pretty much ready to go. I go around the outside edge of that with one of my few Neocolor 2 crayons that is called an azurite blue, I think it is, something like that, azurite blue. Around the edges of that, but I don't show you that either. Just punching a hole with the crocodile. And I do some little round reinforcers there, you can see, just by cutting out the little circles and punching a hole in the centre. I'm using some Liquitex matte super heavy gel to adhere those leaves onto the tag, giving them a good coat so they adhere nicely. Brilliant stuff, that heavy gel. Just arranging them so they look as natural as possible. Not quite sure which eucalypt this is, there's hundreds of them. Pretty little thin leaves. There we go, that's got it. Letting that dry under a weight while I put the bells. I'm just showing you there the little packet of bells. My son has he's taken over my website and started an online store with my blessing, but he's added a lot of my little treasures out of my charms box into his shop, and I had to buy a packet of bells back from him. I just got my making a journal box out and using one of the big darning needles and the needle threader to get that twine through the eye of the needle and back up through the drilled hole. So the little brass bell is up inside the gum nut, and they do jingle quite sweetly. These are dear little bells. mid to feet and use the threader. Finally, I get it through. There we go. I just noticed the top of those gum nuts where I pruned them off, the broken stem. So I give them a little touch up with a brown near colour too, that just to take the raw colour off them. Tie them together in a little knot and then thread it through the hole. I do add a little bit of gold thread to the top as well, gold bow to the top as well, just to glitz it up a little bit more. I don't show you that, but I'll put that in the end with the photograph at the end. Just wrapping that twine around a thin end of a little paintbrush, just to make some little curlicues. I hope you get lots of responses, Andrea, lots of lovely tags. I hope you show us some of them. I'll look forward to seeing them. You do a great job with all of your videos. Keep it up. You're a great inspiration to me and a lot of people. So here's to the next 2,000 for you, my dear. I just made a little tag to go on the back that just says Andrea Kidman, 2,000 subscribers, YouTube, make a tag challenge, Diaz, 23rd of the 6th, 2017. And put congrats and celebrate on the front. There's a couple of photos coming up just now, and that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get lots of tags, Andrea. Bye for now.